Brands are dead. Branding is dead. Everyone has one. Your mom has one. Your best friend has one. You have a friend selling on Amazon with a quote unquote brand, or a Shopify where they're selling something from China for cheap, or you know someone with a personal brand where they're trying to get you to buy their course online and are saying everything and giving every offer with every funnel, and it's becoming a commodity. Brands are a commodity. I believe what you're supposed to build is actually a movement. And I have a methodology for that because for the past 10 years, I've been coaching brand owners. I've been in the 7-figure masterminds with all the brand builders. I would host in those rooms. I would coach. I've coached them one-on-one. I've coached in groups. I've coached probably over 100 brand builders from startup to 8 figures. And so I'm going to bring all of that to you and try to convince you not to build a brand that is saturated, that is a commodity, but instead what I want for you is to build a movement. Now, this isn't for everybody. So there are 4 pillars to building a brand. And if you comment below in the comment section, I will actually send you the whole workbook. So just comment movement. Okay, so first I have to double down on the difference between a brand and what I call a movement. Like I said, brand has become a commodity, but you have to understand at the core of what brands have become now, not what they used to be, but at the core of what they are now, it is about taking as much as you can out of your quote unquote avatar through upsells, downsells, all kinds of marketing tricks and hacks and trends, and selling the most trendy product. Literally, there are people that find trends online of products or things to talk about. Then they create a Shopify website. They get the product from China, make it all trendy, make it kind of pitch to an avatar, and then try to get you to buy as much as you can in one time. Average order value, you'll hear that name, that word, AOV, LTV, all of those things. Meanwhile, the thing that they're actually selling creates no transformation. They don't care if it actually helps you. They just are trying to convince you to buy it in that moment. That is what brand has become. And I am, at my core, completely against it. But I've also seen the kind of businesses that create movements and what those movements actually do and how that's different. And what I believe makes them different comes down to 4 core things. Number 1, okay, the number 1 thing that I would say is the biggest difference is that the founder is a missionary instead of a mercenary. What do I mean by that? Okay, a mercenary is someone with a special gift set that's dropped into a place to do a singular job, right? So they come in, they're really good at one thing, and they get that thing done. What has happened in this current branding ecosystem is that they take someone with an expert gift in marketing, they put an avatar in front of them, and they say, sell this course, sell this book, sell this physical product for me, and talk about how great it is. And they don't really care. That's a mercenary. Now, you can make a lot of money as a brand mercenary. That's just not how I roll and who I enjoy serving. So instead, a founder that is a missionary literally has a core, what I call a core psychotic principle. And that core psychotic principle is something that they literally cannot be convinced out of, right? So when you think about this, I want you to think about Elon Musk. I want you to think about Steve Jobs. I want you to think about Phil Knight. I want you to think Howard Schultz of Starbucks. All of these people had a core principle, psychotic principle that they just weren't going to give up on. There was no convincing them out of it, right? And that there created something, that principle decided to create a product with the intention of creating a transformation for the customer. Okay, so that core psychotic principle for you is uncovered. It's not created. If you're sitting here going, man, what is my core psychotic principle? And then you come up with some really, political sounding tagline. That's not it. But the founder, a missionary founder, so my dad was a missionary sharing the gospel in Kenya with desert people. There is nothing you could say to my dad that's going to convince him to change his mind. Okay, about the gospel. There's nothing that's going to change his mind. In business, those kind of founders create unbelievable businesses. All right? That's what you want to do. What is the thing that you cannot be convinced otherwise? What is that belief? What is that core psychotic principle? Now, all of the people, the amazing business people that I told you about, were thought of as crazy. In fact, if you look at them, they were crazy. Think about Howard Schultz with Starbucks. What is he wanting to build? There wasn't a Starbucks in every corner. There wasn't a coffee shop on every corner where people were actually connecting with each other. That's crazy. To pour millions of dollars into that, that's crazy. Jeff Bezos, you're going to build, literally as I'm saying this, there's an Amazon truck pulling up, right, to the circle. But literally, you're going to tell me we're going to ship to everyone, and we're going to start off by selling books, and then we're going to end up using that same technology to literally get anyone anything? Yeah, okay. And it's a membership and we can get it there in 2 days. That takes a crazy person with a psychotic core principle that they have. The same with Bill Walton behind Walmart, Phil Knight with Nike. If you read these people's books and you actually get around a lot of people, there's a mission, there's a core psychotic principle that they live by that they cannot be convinced of, that is their guiding light. They literally hire by this principle. It is everything to them. That thing they couldn't really describe to you because it's so internal, it's so inherent. Nothing is going to change it. Now, what happens with that missionary founder is they want to share it with everyone. They can't shake it. They have to share it with everyone. And then there's a part of them that says, who am I to not create something to help people experience and understand this core psychotic principle? That, in branding world, they call it a product. But many of the founders that have a core psychotic principle don't have a product yet or a service. They just have that thing. And in their mind, they can actually pinpoint the journey that it's going to take to get their customer to that result. Okay? Some of your favorite brands, quote unquote brands, the ones that no matter what, you'll go out of your way, you'll pay no matter what for it, those are movements. And the reason you'll go out of your way is because you feel inherently in you this core principle, this core psychotic principle in you, this in a similar way that the founder does. The founder just did a really great job of translating that thing to something that you would want, not just want, but feel like you need. All right? That all comes from a missionary founder. All of the founders I named sacrificed more than you could imagine. Not just financially, their families, most of them are divorced. They sacrificed everything. Again, that core psychotic principle makes you do things you wouldn't normally do because you believe it so inherently. It's a principle in your life. So the first thing that you have to have in a movement and the first thing that you have to identify for you is, am I a missionary founder or not? Is that you? Like, are you here because you're trying to find something to sell to make money? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's for some people, that's a job. For some people, that is a service. But the people I'm talking to don't want to do that. They're trying to bring this principle, this idea, this belief, and they're trying to translate it into more people so that they can have a transformation. Now, that's the third principle. So, first principle, missionary founder, okay? You have to feel like you're on a mission. There's nowhere you're unwilling to go. There's nothing you're unwilling to pay to help live by this thing. That brings to the second principle, which is the core psychotic principle. Okay? So first, you have to be a founder on a mission. Second, you have to have your core psychotic principle. Like I said before, this is not created. This is uncovered. You have it inherently. What is the thing that you believe that no one can convince you otherwise? If you felt like no one would judge you, none of your friends would leave you, no one would think you were crazy, what's the one thing that you would say that in most cases might make people turn around? That you believe inherently. You might have 3 or 4, but what is that thing? And then going back to pillar 1, do you feel a missionary call to bring this to the world? That is a movement, okay? So first principle, missionary founder. Second principle, you got to have a core psychotic principle. Number 3, this is the number 3 pillar of a movement. Now, I have read all the books from the founder of Whole Foods to Amazon to you name it, Apple, Starbucks, Nike, Walmart. I encourage you guys to read these books, by the way. I've read them all. And I've been in the rooms with the people with 8-figure brands. I've coached 7-figure founders and people everywhere in between. So when I tell you this stuff, it comes with experience. So the third thing is the thing that most of you watching this right now, it's going to make you guys walk away. It's going to make you guys turn off this video. It's going to make you scroll. It's going to make you do all this thing because and how do I know that? I know you're not going to want to hear this. It's because I've coached groups and the second I bring this up, I can see all of them kind of lower their head. It kind of takes the air out of the room. Because while they might know that it's true, they don't want to do it. Why don't they want to do it? Because it's unbelievably hard and risky. And there's not a guarantee that it's going to make you rich. And which I think is one of the biggest blunders of people trying to create a movement. They try to get rich right away. That is taking. I'm trying to take and take and take. Whereas the movement makers, the guys that make movement, are trying to give and give and give. Do you realize how long Amazon was unprofitable? If you don't, I highly recommend you read the shareholder letters of Jeff Bezos. They are literally in a book. He was constantly telling them why we're where we're at and why this is where we need to be and what this means. They were some of the best written letters you'll ever read. So what I'm about to tell you is going to make you go, this ain't for me. And if so, you're probably right, okay? So here it is. The third principle that's going to make most of you turn away, but is a mark of a true movement, is the transformation that the customer has. It has to be deniable. An undeniable customer transformation. I'm going to say this again because some of you are going to go, yeah, and they'll make up some kind of transformation that isn't actually happening. It has to be undeniable, not just to them, but to the people around them. An undeniable customer transformation, okay? This can happen with your physical brand. This can happen with your personal brand. With your personal brand, whatever it is, when someone is interacting with you, do they have an undeniable transformation? Do they? Honestly, ask yourself that. Or do they just have a good time? Do they go, this changed me. This made me think different? Do they, if you have a physical product brand, do they get this physical product and go, I don't know how I'm going to live without it. This is amazing. This is incredible. I went from over here to over here. I want to tell all my friends. It has to be undeniable. Amazon did not just grow because they got you a book in 2 days. There were so many things that happened along the way that when it actually happened, when the customer actually got the book, there was a change in their mind. Something changed to where they told people. The same thing happened with Airbnb. The same thing happened with Uber. When someone first had an Uber ride, when they had their first Uber ride, they told everybody about it. This same thing happened with CrossFit, by the way. Some of you are not old enough to know what it was like when CrossFit first came out. I mean, I remember I went on a run one day and there was a guy outside my apartment complex asking if I wanted to do a CrossFit workout with him at his gym. Who does that? He had an undeniable transformation, and so he was sharing the gospel of CrossFit. Think about that. Someone went to Starbucks, and you know what? Everyone cannot wait to when a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A comes to their city, or comes to their town, or comes to their block, or comes to their neighborhood, because finally they have a place to experience what they've experienced somewhere else that was so pleasant that they cannot wait to have it closer to them. That is a movement. That is an undeniable customer transformation. Do you have that? I mean, seriously. This happened with Facebook. I don't care how you feel about Facebook and Instagram. I was there when it was created. I remember when it was just for colleges. Like if your email didn't end in edu, you couldn't have an account. I remember telling everybody and asking everybody, and everyone was saying, have you been on Facebook? Do you have a Facebook? Did you see the photos that Lindsay posted on Facebook? Like, it was insane because for the first time we're experiencing publicly sharing our photos with people in a closed group where we could talk about it and connect over these things. It had never been experienced, and it was undeniable, and the world went through a transformation, good or bad. Our world is now different because Facebook exists, okay? So is that something that happens with you? And chances are now you're thinking about, well, how do I change that? And the thought of how to change it, you go, it's just easier to keep selling my thing. I'm just going to increase my ad spend. I'm just going to find a new offer. I'm just going to change a few things in my funnel so I can take as much from the people that need weight loss when I know the hard work of actually building a transformation, an undeniable transformation for them would be awesome. I just don't have time for that, and that's too hard of work. I'd rather just take. Here's my course. Get coached by me at a high-ticket offer, but I don't know if anything will change for you. It's not undeniable. And the way that I got you was through cold traffic with a really good ad that got you here, that got you there, to get you there. And now through brainwashing, you bought a product and you're never going to use it. That's what we've come to. And that's why I think brand is dead. That to me is dead. I don't want to be associated with that. Now, here's the fourth pillar that I think is super exciting and is one of the most rewarding and gratifying things that you can have. Okay? Number 4, this is incredible. And I love this. It's because movements create fanatics, not followers. They don't even create fans, okay? They create fanatics. Going back to the CrossFit or even Yeti, when those things first came out, people wouldn't just, like, for Yeti coolers, people didn't just buy the cup. They got the cooler too. We're talking about $200 and $300 and $400 coolers. And they would buy multiple cups because they came in different colors. And then when a smaller cup came out or a bigger cup came out, they went ahead and got that too. Why? Because we had never experienced anything like that. All the coolers and cups that kept things cold, they didn't keep them this cold for this long. It was undeniable, right? And because it was so positive, we became fanatics. We weren't just fans. We weren't just like followers. Like, we weren't just like, yeah, we agree with their ethos. No. We didn't even know what their ethos was, but we were like, the people that buy Yeti only buy Yeti. They're not going to buy the knockoffs, right? We know who they are. They've got everything. So for you and what you're doing, do you want followers? Not really. Do you want an audience? Not really. What do you really want? You want fanatics. Because, now this is the part that makes all of this so rewarding. The people that create movements, do you know what they get? More money than they know what to do with, more word of mouth, there's more word of mouth marketing that happens for them. There's just, the return on ad spend is insane. All of those things that marketers try to trick people into creating for them, movements get with 10 times less work. Now, some of you will say, yep, a good product is the best marketing. I don't believe that, because we all know people, inventors, who created great products that nobody found out about and no longer exist. So it's not enough to have a good product. You must be a movement. And that's what a lot of what you bought years ago, that's what they used to be. All the people that love Ford, that are frustrated now, they loved Ford when Ford was more dependable. When it was like this American brand where it was just well built. But now most people are fans of Toyota. There used to be this American thing about a Chevy, about a Ford, about a Dodge, because the stuff, they were just built different. They were built tough. It's not true anymore. And so the people that bought Ford, a Ford guy would never buy a Chevy, and a Chevy guy would never buy a Ford, and a Dodge guy would never buy a Chevy. Never. And if you bought a car that was foreign, you were seen as weird or really rich, because those people were fanatics. There's nothing else that they would buy. Nothing else. Because they had an undeniable customer transformation. They could probably still remember the first time they drove a Ford Mustang, and they were like, this is unreal, and it lasted them for years and years, and they handed it down to their kids. That used to be the American experience with cars. Not anymore. They gave up on their core psychotic principle. The founder is no longer on a mission. They're now trying to serve the shareholder, so they lost it. Trust me, movements can die. Most of them do. But for you, you can have a movement. You could literally have a movement, but it's going to require you to be on mission as a founder, to find out what your core psychotic principle is and live by it. And if you live by it, you will create undeniable customer transformations. And if you create undeniable customer transformations, you create fanatics. Let's go.